What's up, family? Thank you for tuning in to the DreamNation podcast. My name is Casanova. I'll be your host, and I'm excited to be bringing to you entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and trailblazers from around the world. Stay locked in with us because we're about to go on a journey that will change your life. What's up, Dream Builder? We are back again. We had another episode that I'm excited to be bringing to you today because we're going to learn about the powers of entrepreneurship. We're going to learn about the powers of never giving up and just how do you have that grind mentality. So today on the line, we got my brother, Mr. Words Taylor. Words, you want to go ahead and say what's up to Dream Nation?
Yo, salute. That's what I like. I like that, man. But salute to the Dream Builders.
Right? I did my research on
it. Let's go. So salute to the Dream Builders, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to just dig in and be on the show, man. Let's get it.
Absolutely. Now, the way that I always love to give a proper introduction is I compare us as thought leaders, pioneers, change makers to superheroes.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because we're constantly flying around the world and we're putting on our cape, trying to solve some of the world's biggest problems. And I know that that's something that you've been doing your entire life. So the thing that I say is a lot of the times we often know who Superman is, but we don't know who that Clark Kent is, or we can't really describe him behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they already know because of the team that you built, but also the results that you already have. The Superman, that's Words Taylor. But what we don't know is who is that Clark Kent behind the scenes. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if I had to pick a superhero, now I rock with Superman, but I would pick a combination of Spider-Man and the Hulk, just because, my wife and I and my son, we absolutely love Spider-Man, just, the resources that he has available to him. We even walk around the house going, doing our little spider thing, right? And I say that because there's a part of me that feels like because I'm a big guy and I have this outer shell that people see, there's a level of aggression that comes with it. There's a level of anger that comes with it. I'm black and a big guy. So what I would say is the biggest thing for me is the reason why I picked the Spider-Man is because I'm not aggressive, not when it comes to just being me. I am more of a gentle guy. I'm in tune with my feelings. I can get vulnerable. I still cry and I'm okay with it. And I know none of these things take away from my manhood. What happened was growing up in Chicago, you always have to be in that shell. You always have to show like, no, I can't be messed with. You always have to be on guard. And that's a hard life to live because you're constantly adapting who you are. It's like, I don't want to be this person. I want to be that person when it comes to protecting myself or protecting my family or protecting, our legacy. I'm cool with that. But when it comes to just being me, that's not who I am. And I feel like for the first time in my life in these last few years, I've just been able to be me. And it's so much more comfortable being me. I can be vulnerable with my wife and not feel like she's going to see me as a smaller man because of it. And she actually sees me as a greater, stronger man because of it. So the things that, I do get now, I turn into Hulk when it comes to my family, when it comes to business. Like I'm about smashing. Let's go now. Right. Let's go. And that's why my wife is at home full time now and not having to work a job, because when it comes to the people I love, that's where I go hard. That's where I start beating my chest at. But outside of that, man, I'm silly, goofy. Like I love hard and I apologize. I run to forgiveness. That's who I am.
God, I love it, man. A gentle giant is what I like to think of. And super dope. You talked, and I think that this is something that we all experience, right? When we're growing up, especially if you're black and if you're growing up in any type of urban community, it's kind of that show no love, love will get you killed, right? Yeah. And so my question to you is, what changed to make you say, listen, I don't always have to be the biggest, the strongest, the meanest to get my same point across or to let people know that, like, I'm not somebody to be messed with? Like, was there a time, what changed where you had that epiphany to say, listen, I can show my heart and I'll be okay?
Yeah, there's three things that I would say that changed for me. One is environment. So I moved from at 18 after graduating from high school, I moved to Ames, Iowa to go to Iowa State University.
Mm.
And I'm in an environment now where you walk past people and they speak and they're smiling. In Chicago, we don't do that. We don't like you walk past and somebody speak, you watching them, as you pass them, things like that. And there's just the environment show me like, wait a minute, there's a different side to people. There's a different life here. And I didn't know that life. So it kind of made me just be able to say, oh, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Like have conversations with strangers. I wouldn't do that in Chicago.
Mm.
Like you always on guard. So the first thing was the environment. I was in an environment that was about growth. And not saying you can't have that in Chicago, but I'm just saying this environment, every conversation was about, all right, what's after college, or what experiences that do you want to have, traveling, spring break, and classes, studying, and tests. It's like this is a different type of environment. The second thing, my relationship with God got stronger, and I was just like, and I just learned that, man, like anger is not who I am or who I desire to be. And what I did learn was that I was masking who I really was, and I was using anger as that initial introduction.
Like, was there a time though that you did something that you just were not proud of and you said, listen, let me take a step back and figure out, like, was there a time that you lashed out and you really made you think, or did you just happen to get a stronger relationship with God?
Yeah, no, I lashed out a lot, and that goes into the third, which is my wife, because there were, I'll say people. Let me say people, and my wife is included in that. I was at a point where every weekend at school, we were trying to find a fight to get into. We were drinking, we were being aggressive, we were going up to random people, like kind of like the stuff that you see, the boot gang stuff and all that. We were doing that. And one of my guys tell me, he was like, bro, you need to start rapping or writing or something. You are doing too much. It was a friend that was like, you're doing too much. And he introduced me. It was two guys, Steve and James, introduced me to Def Poetry Jam. This is about time where you have the Def Poets and Black Ice and all of them. And I look at that and I was like, oh, that's it. And I wrote my first poem, and it was about my mother. She wasn't a part of my life. And I just felt so much release from that. And I just realized, like, yo, I'm angry. I'm resentful. Like there's a whole lot in me. And then my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, they had church on Fridays. So Fridays were my clubbing days. And I would go up to her and be like, hey, let's hang out on Friday. She's like, bet, let's go to a Bible study. That was like, what? A Bible? You are killing me. Bible study on a Friday? And we started doing that. And it was just like, wow, just the change in my environment, the change in the people, and all of those things truly helped me to start to, like, I had good people in my life that was like, no, look at yourself, bro. Look at you. And so my wife helped deepen that relationship with God. Friends actually helped me to see that my behavior was going the wrong way, and they introduced me to a new skill set, and I took that and ran with it.
Man, it's so crazy. The question that I still have about this though was, in the beginning, before you found God and you really just became more spiritual and understanding who you were people telling you that in the beginning? They're like, yo, you need to change, but you were resistant to it? Or it was just like nobody had ever even exposed you to this, so you weren't resistant, you just had never learned about it, and then when you did learn about it, you were like, man, this is a whole nother world over here.
Yeah,
The reason
yeah,
why I asked that, I guess to preface it, is because for a lot of people, they get into a new environment, but yet they don't open themselves up to be vulnerable, because they say, no, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, there's
yeah,
something wrong with y'all. And so sometimes it could be, people saying like, hey, there is something wrong with you. And you looking at it to look yourself in the mirror. Like you said, look at you, look at you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
was that your case, or no? What
yeah.
was
No,
your case?
so I was raised in the church. My father always had me in church. But when I got to be on my own, I went and wanted to experience different experience. So I was trying everything. I've never tried drugs ever, or smoked anything or any of those things, but I just drifted away from it. And yes, people were saying like, bro, you're on one. What is this? And I'm like, no, you're on one.
Right.
You know, you that defense mechanism. And listen, there are parts of you that actually know. You know that you've drifted far away from who you are and what you're supposed to do. You know that. And then if somebody points it out, the defense mechanism comes up because you don't want them to think that you know, or you don't want them to think that they're right or that they know who you are supposed to be. When God has put people in my life to identify, hey, bro, listen, I started doing poetry. I had gotten kicked out of school. And because, again, I was doing poetry, I found an outlet, but I still wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. The vice president was a black dude. He's a Kappa Alpha Psi. And I had to go to him to actually try to get reinstated. And my man had a conversation with me. He pulled up my records. He pulled up it's a different story when people can show you receipts.
Right. Facts.
He went from high school. He was like, this is who you were in high school. You can see 3.7 and all this stuff and academic decathlon. He's like, this who you are right now. And you see 0.9, you see 1.9, you see all the GPA, and you see all that change. He said, you out here bullshit. And I literally said, are you supposed to curse at students? And he started cursing even more. And he was like, I only curse at the students that can win and that's choosing not to.
Right.
And he was like, your father did everything he's supposed to do to get you here. He ain't go to my college. My father don't even have a high school diploma. He was like, and this is what you're doing with it. And he was like, I can't let you back in school. What you're going to go do, you're going to go to the DMAC, which is a,
college.
Yeah. Yep. So a community college. And he's like, I will let you back in when you bring me back an A. You need, because you owe it to yourself. You need to show yourself that you can be this person again. And that was like the first time where I just had to look, because again, I had been rejecting everybody else. And my man was like, no, this is who you are. I don't know why you trying to be this, but I can't. He had the power to just sign it and say, yes, my man could get back in school. And he said no. And that right there was a huge eye opener for me. So yeah, there was people saying, bro, what are you on right now? And I'm looking at them like, y'all have the problem, not me. What is so that was a huge wake-up call for me.
Man, and somebody else that's out here that's listening at this or watching this right now, hopefully that's that motivation for them, is because you look at, just like you said, the receipts. We all can see the path that we were on. We can see the things that made us come alive, but we stopped doing those things.
Yes.
And sometimes it's really what got you there won't get you to the next level, or what got you even here if you're comfortable. So at those times, you really got to sit back. You got to look at the receipts that you already had, and you got to challenge yourself. How can I earn it? Because I think that same thing of what he said, like, if I just let you back in, you'll feel like that, oh, it was a slap on the wrist. You could keep doing it again. But if you got to go to whatever form it is for you of that incarceration, where it's maybe community college, where all of a sudden your egos, they like, yo, what happened? You was at Iowa State. Like, oh, bro, you got to man up. You got to, you can lie to everybody else, but at the end of the day, you can't lie to yourself every single day. Right.
Yeah. So, and that's the hard part, bro, is how do you stop lying to yourself? And it takes real people around you. Say that again.
I said, let's talk about that. How do you? Because a lot of people, wake up every single day, and because they don't have accountability partners in there, but not putting themselves out to the world, they just continue to lie to themselves for whatever. How did you overcome lying to yourself, right? And then start to change it? Because in the beginning, I'm sure you had that, man, like, forget dude. He didn't want to let me forget it. And then all of a sudden you switched it.
Yeah, because it takes a certain level of awareness. Even if you have a small level of awareness, it's be self-aware and then self-correct, right? So I think for me, the way you stop lying to yourself is you have to now go to your own personal receipts. Here's what you set out to do. Here's the goal that you set. Are you any closer today? Are you any closer than when you set that goal?
Right.
And you can literally measure and say, you set out to get a 4-year degree. You've been here 3 years now. Let's look at the credits. Have you, like, 3 years, you're supposed to be classified as a junior. You classified as a junior? No, barely a sophomore. So you have to have that look. Like, the receipts are there. You can lie to yourself and not check the receipts. That's the problem. You're lying to yourself and you refuse to check the receipts. It's like, no, let's check the receipts on you. Check your own receipts. And you'll start to see that I set this goal, I didn't complete it. I started this, I didn't finish. I set out to go here, I got kicked out and I quit. I had this job and I quit. I had this job and I got fired. I had this job. You see the receipts on you.
Right.
And then now that is the time to be like, oh, shoot, it is me. And this is where you come to the epiphany that, like, oh, it is me. So this is what everybody else was saying. And so now that shift has to happen. So you got two choices. You can either stay on the same path and you get the same results, or you can say, all right, I see what's happening. Let me get myself back on the right path. And that's what I chose. I enrolled, and you were right. I was supposed to enroll in that class over the summer. I did not, because I'm on some, man, you don't know me. I'm trying to go around you. And I had already said, I'm gonna just make my life here in Ames, Iowa. And finally in the fall, after that summer, I was like, okay, it's me. And so I went on ahead and enrolled that fall. I got the grade I needed, went back to him. He was like, yo, now you ready. Brother. Yeah. So there was, there's a couple other parts of the story that, I was mentally there, but I now had to get my habits on board. I did get my 4-year degree. It took a little longer, but what I was mentally there where I was like, okay, I deserve this. My father deserves to see this. My grandmother, they deserve to see this, right? I was there at that place. And then it was when, because I had gotten to a point where I'm on the path, and then somebody offered me a job. The job was paying like $65,000. Well, back then at 22, 23, you're like, I'm balling. Well, so I quit school again. And now I'm at the point where I'm saying to school, like, I'm done. I want you to see how, man, God has just always shown himself. And again, this is why I say environment and people. I quit school. I start the job, making $65,000 a year. And then I get my wife to come on to the job. So we're making over $100,000 together. Well, my advisor, the beginning of every semester, he was like, Mr. Taylor, he's personally hitting me up. You have 18 more credits before you get your degree. Please come back to my office and let's get you back enrolled. And I'm saying to him, like, I'm already making the money I want to make. There's no point in me finishing. Right. The summer, he emailed me. And finally, in the fall, he emailed me and called me to tell me to re-enroll in school to finish. And I'm over here like, and so this is what happened. We make all of this money. We buy a house. We're buying all these things, clothes, shoes. And then the company is going under. The first thing that happens is they say, anybody who does not have a degree, because we were doing Be His services, which is teaching young people like how to transition from, out of placement back into the home. Anybody that does not have a degree can't do this job. And I literally go, oh, shoot. Right. So you mean to tell me I quit the job, I quit school to get this job, and now the job is telling me that you need the degree to finish this? I'm like, I can't make this up. So I get laid off from the job, and then the company starts to go under. So now my wife has to start looking for new work, and we're pregnant. So this was 2012, all in this same year. I lose my job. She loses her job. We lose our house. Water's off. We're doing checking the cash. We're going to food pantries. We're on food stamps, all of these things. And finally, a friend let us sleep in their basement for about 4 or 5 months in order to say hi. Like, she just let us, her and her husband, they had just gotten married, just bought their house. And they're like, yo, y'all can come stay in our basement. But I'm saying all this to say is I constantly went through this life of just kind of rejecting what was good for me. And because I still had this thing where it's like, I want to do it on my own and I don't want anybody to tell me anything. But I learned that I was just very hateful and angry and all these things. But that fall, I called the advisor and I enrolled back in school. I enrolled back and I ended up getting like a 3.7 GPA. And one of the conversations I had with my wife was, I can't let my daughter come into this world and see your degree and not see mine, because she's going to ask, where's your degree at, Daddy? And I'll be cool with telling her I didn't go to college, I chose this path, but I would not be cool with telling her Daddy went to college, but I ain't finished. And now I have to look at you and tell you that you have to complete what you started when I didn't set that tone right away. So I got my butt back in school. I graduated spring 13. I came in there spring 02. I actually got my degree spring 2013. So that, and it took me losing my home, being on food stamps, having people call me. It took all of that for me to get to the point where I'm like, okay, God, you win. Like, bro, I don't even want to. I even had, this is the last thing, we go to the next one. This is what I'm showing you, that these are all facts. I even had a young lady that I dated in high school, right? She lives in Dallas, Texas. My wife can attest to this, because I had to tell her, I'm like, yo, Christina's hitting me up. Dated in high school. She called. We have not talked since my junior year of high school. Haven't had any conversation. She Facebooks me and was like, hey, yo, I need to talk to you right now. And I'm like, babe, Christina's hit me up. She gets on the phone and she says, bro, I promise you not, I'm freaking getting emotional saying this. She says, God told me to call you and tell you to stop running, stop what you're doing, and move in a route that he's telling you to do. He's saying there's so much greater for you and you are rejecting. I promise you, I haven't talked to this girl in I don't know how long. And she randomly reaches out and was like, I need to talk to you now. I gave her my number. She calls me, says what she needs to say. Here's what, and she's like, that's all I need to say. We don't have to talk about anything else. You have a good day. Hung up the phone.
And from there,
I knew it. She wasn't on anything.
That was the Holy Ghost that you needed to hear.
Bruh, I'm like, maybe. I'm like, this is crazy. Right. This is, yeah. So, and then from then on, bro, I've been on a different path ever since.
Man, I love it. There's so much value in that story. But the biggest takeaway that I got out of that is what's for you will always be there for you.
That's right? Good.
Because there's so many times that if you think of college, or in your situation, you think of that degree as the woman that's always there for you, right? You keep turning your back on her, you disrespected her, you did all those things. And for you that's listening or watching this right now, it might not be a degree. It might be the industry that you're trying to get out of. It might be the girl that you're trying to get away from, right? It might be the weight that you continuously know that you have to lose. Whatever it might be, you can look at that, but every single time it's going to be right there for you with open arms to say, come back, my brother, my sister, I got you.
Yeah. Right? And it wasn't even just about
there's so much glory in your story. Go ahead.
Praise God. I was saying it wasn't even just about the degree. What you're saying is really what it was about. It's about, I called you to finish something. Right. Finish it. Okay. It is finished. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't move you forward until you finish what there are certain tools that I needed from you that you will need on this journey, but it's going to come from you completing this. There are certain things that there's a level of perseverance that I need from you for this journey, but it's going to come from you completing this. And it's like, yo, there's some people out here that you try to go all the way around it, but that very thing that you're avoiding, that's what's needed for your journey. Right. We try to avoid the thing that actually breaks through the next level. It was like, oh, I want to get to the next level. I want to get to the next level. That thing right there, me completing that was the breakthrough. That was it.
And so much value. I think right there, that's somebody can hear this right now, and that's all they need to hear to change their life, because we all have that thing. I mean, I'm thinking of a couple of things right now. You got me back thinking like, man, was this that? Like, I'm really, and I ain't got no phone call yet, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go crazy if somebody called me today and said, brother, I need you to stop playing. I'm going crazy. I'm absolutely going crazy. Everybody and their mama got to see this, because I'm like 3 hours later, I got that same phone call. This is not by chance, man. This is so fire. The one, so I know I definitely got to be on point with it, because we want to give some people some nuggets. So you've been a staple in this webinar game. Right? You've been a statement. Webinars right now, I don't think that they're going anywhere, because everybody's looking to learn, and everybody has an expertise in something. And so talk to me about the webinar game. How did you decide to get into this game, and why is it so valuable that people at least look into being able to deliver their message through any type of a webinar or a masterclass?
Yeah. So I got in just this happened from me being in that basement. When we lost our home, this is where I was introduced to funnel systems, period. Like everybody else, I'm YouTubing. How do you make money online? That was how do I make money online? And the guy, James Wedmore, he put me in his funnel. Like there was a video, clicked the link, and then it went to a webinar. And I was in tune to the whole webinar. I'm just learning. I was like, this is incredible. I'm just learning. And from then on,
webinar was about how do you create webinars, or what was the webinar about?
Yeah, so the webinar was about how do you create funnel systems, period. Like, email, automation, all of those things. That's what his webinar about. He wasn't doing webinar, how to do webinars. He was doing how to do funnels, and just taking people. The one was teaching me about taking people on a journey, taking them to this link, and then adding an upsell where you can, have people purchase. And I'm like, and he introduced me to the idea of selling through automation, automating your sales. And I'm like, this gotta be a scam. And so I get on the webinar and everything. And I think his program at the time was like $200. And I took the risk. I did it. And I learned so much, and I started building funnels. Well, from there, there was another young lady, Kimber Luna. We see her on Clubhouse often, and I collaborated with her now. She is all about launching with webinars. So I said, oh man, that fits my personality. Like I could be on camera, I could talk to people. Her course is $2,500. And at the time I could not afford it. I even messaged her and told her like, I want to do this, but I can't afford it right now, blah, blah, blah. So she has a 12-month option. She was like, if you can do $200 a month, I'll do it. I cut off our cable. I told my wife, I stopped the bowling league that we were doing, all of these things, because I needed to find these expenses to be able to do it. I told my wife, like, yo, this is it. Like, I need this information. And she was like, do it. I got the information. And then from there, I started applying. I started doing my own webinars. And that's how I started getting sales. Like everything I launched was like, yo, I'm launching to a webinar. What it helps is that in marketing, you need a few things to get the sale, right? You need to be able to have awareness, attraction, authority. You want to have credibility. You want to be able to have influence with people, and you want to build relationship, right? In a webinar, you get to do all of those things in one motion. You get to, from the start of the webinar, you get to have people know your personality. You get to build the trust that is needed. You get to show them receipts. Here's who I've worked with. Here's the results that I've gotten from these people. Here's my system. Here's my program. You also get to show them your teaching style. So you get to teach something, and in a way where they can digest it and feel like, oh, I can apply this now. So it's not a sales pitch, but it's literally a way that you can teach and show them like, look, I have stuff that can give you some relief right now. And then at the end, all the whole webinar, you've been identifying the problem, this big problem that you want to solve. And then finally at the end, you get to show them the ultimate solution that's going to get them to their pinnacle. Like, this is why webinars are so powerful. It's because you literally get to give them a free sample of your entire brand, of your product, your service. I have my clients do walkthroughs. Like, I want you to walk through your course with them, show them the inside, log in, show them the inside, play the first 20 seconds of a few videos, show them the PDF downloads they're going to get. Like, I have them visually see what is about to happen. What is the information they're about to get? And that changes everything. It disarms people. It gets people very much so comfortable with you. It gets people to visually put their eyes on the product and service, and you get to show them, here's the outcome. And what's dope about showing them the outcome is I can show you these people that got the outcome that you're looking for. And so this is the power of that. And what happened was, I joined ET. So again, a guy I met at Iowa State University, he started being a mentor to me, and he would text me it's people, like, guys, I always put people in my life, right? He started texting me every single week. Did you go to all your classes this week? Like, yep, went to all of them, all of this stuff, because I'm back on track. My man gets a job at a school in Nacogdoches, Texas. He brings me out there. Yo, I want you to do some of your spoken word here. Boom, I do it. Then he gets a job at Michigan State University. And he's like a dean or something like that. He was like, yo, do you know ET? Bruh, stop playing with me. You already know.
Right.
You know, he says, I've been showing him your videos. I showed him a couple of your videos, because during this time, as I've now learned how to do webinars, I told myself I was going to go live for a year straight, but I ended up doing 2 years straight, 4 lives a week. And when it was just my grandmother showing up, I'm like, Grandma, you going to get this work then. And I did it for 2 years straight, lives on Facebook, to try to build up my audience and get people to come on my webinars. He showed ET one of my videos. ET was like, yeah, just, give him my number. So I'm like, wait, word? Or, like, you about to give me the number now? He sends me the number. I text E. There's no response initially. I addressed this with E, where, and I actually have footage of us talking about this. But he was like, look, I'm getting so many texts at the time. But what I started doing was, I went from texting him at 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. to I went and started texting him at 3:30 in the morning.
Right.
My man said he'd get up at 3:30. I'm now texting you at 3:30. But I wasn't texting him like, put me on. I was just texting him, yo, what's going on? This is what I'm doing. Hope you have a good day. This is it was just, I'm trying to build.
Right.
And so finally he says, after you see the same number, because I went 12 weeks straight. It was like 12 or 13 weeks straight, just hitting them up. You see the same number for 12 weeks straight. And finally he's like, you answer back. And he's like, all right, what's going on? So his first response back was smart. Because I just told him, like, yo, I'm launching my first webinar today. This is what I did. And he was like, smart. Answer back at 4:00 in the morning. And I woke my wife up like, yo, he just responded. And she's like, what did he say? I'm like, smart. And she was like, boy, I'm like, no, this is real. So from there, we meet at one of his conferences. He tells me about a program called Extreme Execution. It's $2,500. I'm like, oh my God, why does everything cost?
So payment plan with Kimra at this time?
No, this is after Kimra, right? So I had paid her off. This is like, I want to say maybe 2 years later. So I'm like, why does everything have to cost? But I still haven't fully made it to the point where I just got $2,500 to drop. So again, we had literally like maybe 2,500 or 2,700 in our savings. I look at my wife and I'm like, she's like, go ahead. We do it. We both get certified in extreme execution. I immediately started. We were the founding members, and there's like 10 other coaches in there as well. I immediately started teaching them about funnels. Because the coach was like, yo, how do I now make money? I start serving. I even started my own call on Wednesdays. Every Wednesdays, people start looking forward to my call. Finally, E and Lashana, who is this COO, reached out and was like, yo, we want you to do a funnel for us for extreme execution. And I was like,
so why did you go back? I'm curious, why did you go back to funnels instead of just teaching them how to do a webinar?
yeah, that's what I mean. They wanted me to do a webinar funnel.
Got it. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So that's what I was teaching people, how to do their own webinar funnels. Yeah. So I mean, in the funnel world, we just say funnel, but yeah, webinar funnel. And they were like, yo, we want you to teach us how to do, set one up for it. Not teach them. They were like, you set it up, you do it, and all that stuff. So we flew out Detroit. We sat down with Nikki and everybody, Carl, everybody, and had to talk about it. We launched that thing, and boom, we hit 6 figures in 2 days. And from there, he was like, all right, let's talk about a real contract. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So from there, we actually got a contract. I think we do like, we're going to end up doing like 7 funnels total for different parts of the business, which is incredible. And then from there, it just so many other people came from there, and then we just started skyrocketing from there. Like we have a team now and all that.
Do you have a partner with this?
No, it was just me, and it was just me and wifey, and wifey was still working at her job at the time.
So you taught her how to do funnels too?
Yes, I'm like, babe. Yeah, so literally, because I knew how to build them, but I don't know anything about graphic design. So in that moment, I now have to have wifey. I'm like, babe, I need you to do this. Well, wifey is great at, for what we do. She handles all proposals, contracts. She deals with the lawyers, CPA, all of that stuff. And so, yeah, we got her on, but it wasn't directly what I needed right then, which was, how do we design this funnel? Like in the graphics, I'm used to doing my own stuff.
Right.
Which I can move and be like, no, this is okay. And I can still move forward. But this is E now. So we had to hire somebody else. So the money I got initially, I literally end up just giving it to other people so we could build it. It was more important for me to hit a home run than to make money. Like that's what I focused on. So I was like, look, they're paying us this much. And my wife looking at me like, what are we gonna have? I'm like, we're gonna have the opportunity and we're gonna have the results.
Facts.
That's what I'm banking on. We're gonna get these results, and then that's gonna carry over. And that's what happened. So I had to quickly get a team together, and they rocked it. I did the copy, and then we had some people do the graphic design. We had some people do the setups, all of that stuff, and then we rocked it.
Yo, so fire, my brother. That's the power of having a dream. And just like you said, having extreme execution on the mindset. I'm going to make it work. It's about the opportunity, right? It's not about the transaction. So fire. Yeah. This has been a phenomenal conversation. I guess the one thing that I want to ask you, I guess there's a couple of things that I want to ask you. First being, knowing what you know now and how much wiser that you are from when you first started, if there was one thing that you wish that you would have implemented sooner to accelerate your path to where you are now, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, I think I would submit more to people that love me. I was fighting, and I wasn't submitting to the voice of the people that were actually showing and demonstrating that they loved me, right? And they had my best interest at hand. That would have saved me a lot of headache, saved me a lot of mistakes, and would have got me on a path much quicker. But I mean, I'm still here. It just took longer, but I still got to where I needed to get to. I think that would be the biggest thing. It's like there are people in your life that literally are giving you feedback, not because they want to have one up on you, not because they think they're better than you, or they've made it, and you haven't, but literally just because they want to see you win. And I had never experienced anything like that. I didn't even go to my high school reunion because I don't have any relationships like that where my best friend now, Rashard, when I first went to his house, my man was like, yo, I'm cooking. You want me to throw you some tilapia on? And he'll tell you this. You want me to throw you some tilapia on here? And I'm like, you gonna cook for me? And I'm immediately thinking like, oh, what do you want? You know, because you're not gonna do this for anything. And he genuinely was like, no, I'm breaking bread with you. It's like, wow, this is, you know, and for me, these were things that I just wasn't willing to submit to right away. And I think that cost me.
Cool. Man, the other question that I have is, if you could have dinner, I know you've obviously been around ET, one of the GOATs of our decade and our generation, but if you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, and don't say Jesus, because everybody says Jesus.
No, I wouldn't.
You could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, and you can ask them one question. Who would it be, and what would you ask?
Yeah, is it outside of E? Because I would probably still say E to sit down. I would probably still.
Kind of people would be like, but you can ask E that one question, right?
I can't ask him that one question, but I've never actually had well, I mean, okay, I've had a group dinner. I haven't had a one-on-one dinner with them, okay. Which would be dope. But but I would say somebody that is at the top of my industry for me. Is Billie Jean. Are you familiar with Billie Jean?
Yeah, we've had him on the show. Billie Jean is
what?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, word? That's what's up. That's what's up. I gotta watch that joint now. I gotta watch that. So I would wanna sit down with my man and just have dinner. I love the way his mind thinks. I would ask him, like, you know, our business is, you know, at the point of scale, right? Where we're gonna hit that you know, 7+ this year, right? But my man has made, you know, but
he's a pioneer in the industry. What's that one question would you ask him?
So, man, the one question, right now he just retired. So I think my question would be, you know, what was his exit strategy, or did he have the same exit strategy? Because I'm always thinking about, how do we get out? What's the next? So what is he doing now that made him exit the digital world and move into the space that he's in now? I want to know those steps. And then what are you actually doing right now that is helping you maintain what you have and continue to have, you know, for your daughter and for your legacy? I probably want to dig somewhere into that
connection for you. Billy came on the show, dropped a lot of value, a lot of game. Definitely super dope guy, but we'll see what we can do, man. This has been a phenomenal conversation, my brother. If nobody else has told you today, I want to be the first one to say thank you, and I appreciate you. For anybody who wants to stay in touch with you, and I'm sure there's going to be so many people that are inspired by your story, so they want to stay connected, where can they find you at?
Yeah, so you can always just go to my Instagram at Words Taylor. You can visit my website as well, wordstaylor.com. I had a couple of freebies there, and you can also be able to text me there. You'll see that link either on my Instagram or at wordstaylor.com. You can always find me there.
We'll make sure that we put all of the links in the show notes. And man, this is a phenomenal conversation. And just as you said, right, you had to have extreme execution, and everybody that's out there in Dream Builder Nation, and definitely just Dream Nation as a whole, we all got a dream. But if we put action behind those dreams, as you already know, that dream that you have will only merely be a fantasy.
Let's go.
Let's go. We're going to catch you on the next one.
Let's get it. Yeah.
That's all we got for this episode. Thank you for sticking around. That truly means a lot to me, and hopefully that means that we delivered massive value on this one. If you haven't already, the way that you could say thank you to myself and the team is just by heading over to iTunes and leaving a review and a rating. That's what iTunes loves to see. That's how we get out there even more, and I would definitely be grateful for it. I know the team would as well. Do me a favor and head on over to DreamNationPodcast.com. That's where you're going to be able to find all of the resources that we talked about in today's episode, as well as more exclusive content. And you'll also be able to sign up to our email list where we have more exclusive content. And we always love to hear the feedback from you all, because you're our tribe. So remember, in the dream we trust, we'll see you on the flip side.